get these guys off!
It's yours now.
The bridge is out!
This is Battlefield Hardline. So I thought in this video I'd tell you my thoughts on it since it came out on Friday. I've actually had a bit of a cold the last couple of days, which is why I haven't put... I say a cold, it was probably... I'm pretty sure it was the plague, because I have no idea how people survive these things. I haven't had a cold for about 2 years or so, and I forgot how painful it was. But then I rediscovered whiskey and paracetamols, and that is a cracking combination. You could send me into Deathmatch a Hippo right now, and I would be good with that. But that was the point at which I decided to make this video, so I'm not sure how coherent this commentary is going to be. But anyway, to summarise my overall impression of Hardline, if you've got plenty of money and you want a bit of a filler first-person shooter for the next 5-6 months, if the game lasts that long, which it may or may not do, then you might want to pick up Hardline. But if you're only buying or planning on buying one first-person shooter this year, then you definitely want to wait till Star Wars Battlefront comes out, because that game is just going to be, even if there's many flaws with it, which there probably will be, it's going to be a lot better value for money than what you're getting at the moment with Hardline, because it's very expensive for what's in this at the moment. Just briefly, the single player in Hardline actually reminded me a bit of Bad Company 2's. A little bit. I thought Bad Company 2 was a really good single player, but some of the characters later on in Hardline are pretty interesting. So I enjoyed it a lot more than the Battlefield 4, just because nobody relentlessly called me record to the point where if I hadn't downloaded the game I'd probably snap the disc from Battlefield 4, which I just thought was... I thought Battlefield 4 had a terrible single player. The set pieces in Hardline were pretty good. At one point you get a flood and then swim up an elevator shaft, which was... as much as they've all got ladders in, so that was kind of pointless. It was still kind of cool doing that. I did find the actual gameplay of the single player to be a bit tedious, bordering on boring a lot of the time, because there's a lot of on-rails moments where you've just got to press a certain button during a cutscene, or you just have to follow this Asian lady about for ages and ages. Kind of like you had to do in Battlefield 4. That must be what's selling games at the moment. Take note, future developers. But the other parts are stealth, like arenas, where you get released into sort of an environment. You can use your sniper to take things out. It reminds me a little bit of Far Cry, but it's far worse implemented than that. Mainly because all the enemies on every difficulty level are on the minimap. So you know where every enemy is and its cone of view without having to spot anybody or there being any risk of you not knowing an enemy's around a corner. Which is just, it just makes the game... I don't know who they designed this for, but their test players must be absolute morons, because I just found it so boring, because it was so easy. The multiplayer, though, the biggest thing that's changed with this is the speed at which the game plays. It is a lot faster than all of the previous Battlefield games. It's a lot easier to kill people. The guns, you can basically just hold down full auto. There's no reason to burst them, and you can take people out. They seem to do a lot of damage because there's very little suppression and very little spread when you're firing, so you can take people out really quickly in this. It plays as fast as, probably as fast as hardcore mode would in the previous Battlefield games, and it's very similar to the speed at which Call of Duty plays. You'll still be able to do good if you're a good player, and if you get a flank on a group of enemies, you'll be able to take 3, 4, 5 guys out with a single assault rifle magazine. But the other side of that is if you get shot from the side or the back, somebody you haven't seen, and just look how many windows and places there are in this. There's pretty much non-existent, like, I think they call it laning in this, so you don't know where people are coming from. You will pretty much die no matter how bad that other player is, because they can just spray in your general direction and you'll go down. You can get in some pretty sneaky places though, if you take the grappling hook, like on top of this building, which you can only get up on here if you've got a grappling hook. So it is, not many people seem to take it at the moment. I don't know if they've unlocked it, but it's a pretty cool little gadget. I enjoy running with it. The way gadgets are unlocked is a little bit weird in this game. They seem to have balanced some of the weapons by how much it costs to unlock them. Now this isn't Counter-Strike where obviously you're rebuying each round, so that kind of balancing works. They've put some guns which are obviously better than others at a higher price point, but all it means is people save up to unlock a weapon, then unlock that best weapon, and then use that to unlock the rest. Like, you can't balance a gun based on what is a one-time unlock. I'm not entirely sure why they've done that, but there's certainly some guns in this which are significantly better than others. There's also two guns, the L85 and the ACWR, I've got footage of the end of that, which you can only get by buying the digital deluxe version, and presumably there'll be like an upgrade separate you can buy at some point EA brings out. You can only get those guns if you buy that, so you've basically got to pay for those guns. Now, it isn't pay to win as such because they're not better than the guns that are in the game, and obviously they've done that, so, you know, people don't complain too much about it. But the fact is you can't get them unless you pay extra. There's no way in-game of unlocking them unless you pay that bit extra. There are a couple of other things which concern me a little bit with the multiplayer. If you've never played any of the previous Battlefield games, these probably don't bother you, but it seems to be built off a build of Battlefield 4 that was from like last July or August, before they did the big patch to fix some of the network and other related issues in the game. I don't think, speaking of network, you'll experience getting shot behind cover as much in this game as in Battlefield 4, because you literally die so fast you're not going to have time to get behind cover to experience that. The low time to kill sort of masks that issue to an extent. But the thing it does seem to cause is, at least I've been experiencing this, quite a lot of trade kills, because people kill you that fast and the game engine literally can't keep up with what happens. So if the right number of bullets hit you and the right number of bullets hit the other person before it could figure out which hit first, it just says you both died. And that, especially in close quarter maps like a lot of these are, is pretty frustrating. There's a few other small issues which are still in from Battlefield 4. Hit markers are sometimes in the wrong direction, so you'll get shot from the right, it'll make you look to the left because it points the damage that way. It doesn't really matter as much as it did in Battlefield 4 in this, because if you get shot out of your cone of view, you're pretty much dead, or at least on PC you are. The double damage bug and the one-hit kill bug, that's where you feel like you just instantly died. And it's caused by a bug where the health bar doesn't display your actual damage. Those have been fixed in Battlefield 4, but they haven't been fixed in this. I'm pretty sure they still exist in it, which is what made me think this was like an older build of Battlefield 4 they based this game off. The game still auto-balances live players, so you could be in the middle of an absolute rampage. And I do love these knife animations. These are so much better than the ones in Battlefield 4. And the sounds generally. I think the sounds, they've done a really good job with this game to make the weapons feel quite damaging. But yeah, it's still, the server there seems to be no option for server owners other than to just have auto balance on or off, and sometimes it will kill a live player instead of waiting for a player who's just died and then switching them across. There's a fairly big flinch when you get shot, if that's something that bothers you. It was one of the things that were toned down in Battlefield 4. I'm not sure why they put it in this. It makes a gunfight. Who gets the better flinch wins, essentially, because you don't know when you're going to hit by a bullet. It knocks your aim off in a random direction, so sometimes you can get a better flinch than the person you're shooting at, and that means you win that gunfight. It's like a bit of random chance, really. Some of the destruction is pretty embarrassing, to be honest. There's a lot of little trees on a map called Everglades which look like they should be able to be knocked over, and they will stop your car dead or explode you. It doesn't feel like a Battlefield game on that map, unfortunately. There's none of the extra sensitivity options that are in Battlefield 4, so the extra aim down sight sensitivity slider isn't in. There's no universal soldier aim, so if that stopped you enjoying the beta because those options weren't in and you've been using it in Battlefield 4, it is exactly as it is in the beta. You can actually change the sensitivity in the documents file, but it's like a hidden option. You have to use a hex editor to be able to change it, so it's kind of there, but it's like they wanted to remove it, which is... it's just really strange. I actually asked the developer about this, never got a reply in the games that I played with the developers, so, you know, maybe they're not interested. But anyway, if I had to sum all of this up, and I've obviously pointed out some of the bad things, because I feel the gameplay shows quite a lot of the good, like, cool moments, and that's why I've selected this bit of gameplay to show you. So, I mean, the game as a whole it's like a nice filler, and I couldn't really recommend it to anybody as anything more. So if if you want something in between and you're bored of Battlefield 4, you really dislike Battlefield 4, maybe you'll like this. but maybe you'll buy this and you'll think it's a complete waste of money. Like, I just don't know. It's like a kind of Marmite game, it seems to me, at the moment, where some people inexplicably hate certain things which other people really do like. So that's the best I can do with this. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I shall see you in the next chapter.